Welcome to the show. I am your host, Edna White, and today we have a wonderful guest who I'm so excited. I am in love with the book already. I want to hear him read it, but I really love this author. Today's guest is Devin W. Moore, and I want to tell you a little bit about him, about the author himself, because I think this is a great subject to be talking about, especially what he's doing right now as a young man. At the age of 14 years old, Devin W. Moore became the founder of hashtag Race to Speak Up Incorporated, an anti-bullying organization. He was inspired to make a positive change after being racially bullied in middle school. And we all know how that is in middle school. Middle school kind of teaches us a lot of things. Devin is dedicated to getting the state anti-bullying legislation passed. He wants to pass that. Everyone, my audience, please join in with him to do this, which will help keep students safe from bullying in schools and implement mandatory anti-bullying classes. I love that. As an anti-bullying advocate, Devin is partnered with Humanity Rising and Parents Against Bullying VA to further the anti-bullying message. I He has so much more, but I really want to get to speak with Devin. Welcome to the show, Devin. Thank you for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me. And that was a great introduction. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I am so excited to see such a wonderful person who's doing so much and getting written in the book of life, and that's what you're really doing. Tell us how you started to show up in the world in this space you are with anti-bullying.
Yeah, of course. So my story, the beginning point is not really a positive thing at all. As you mentioned before, I went through some very disturbed, disgusting, horrific bullying, racist bullying and in middle
Mhm.
school. So that was when I was 14 years old. I'm currently 19. I've done a lot since then, founding my own organization, being the author of Devin Speaks Up. And then beyond that, I am also a college student. I go to the University of Maryland. So there's a lot of things going on in my life. But where my journey starts was after going through that racist bullying in middle school. And I did not, obviously, I didn't like the way it felt. I was being targeted simply for something that
Mhm.
makes me beautiful and unique, which is my skin color. But beyond that, it's also, there's a couple of different reasons, but that's the main
Yeah.
thing. They're seeing me
Mhm.
as a threat because I'm Black, when that should not
Right.
be the case. So they took the power into their own hands by cyberbullying me, physically bullying me, verbally bullying me. There was a lot of
Mhm.
different things that went on. And beyond that, I realized that bullying was not only happening in that community, in that environment, or in that school
Right.
space. It's actually happening throughout the world, throughout so many
Yeah.
different areas of this world for so many different reasons, whether you're bullied because of your skin color, your height, sexuality,
Yeah.
religion, really whatever the case may be. It could be
Yeah.
something as simple as wearing glasses. And
Yeah.
I don't want this to continue. I never wanted that to continue. And I wanted to be a part of that social impact, that social change that puts an effective end, or at least at the bare minimum, prevent bullying. Therefore,
Mhm.
that led me to founding my own nonprofit organization, Race to Speak Up. Through
Mhm.
Race to Speak Up, we have different anti-bullying workshops. Well, we have anti-bullying workshops, Race to Speak Up Against Bullying workshops. And through
Right.
that, we host a variety of different activities in it, things to really get this conversation started about bullying and really allow for us to assess what's going on in this student's environment or even this parent. I speak to teachers, I speak to adults, I speak to quite the amount of different audiences about this
Great.
issue. And then
Mhm.
beyond that, I am also the very proud author of Devin Speaks Up. It is a
Mhm.
children's anti-bullying book. I am going to hold it up for y'all in the camera. Yeah, I know, and I got her copy, but yeah. So that's Devin Speaks
I
Up.
love this book. Love it,
Yeah,
love it.
I'm very proud of it. Now that it's October, or now that it's 2023, October, National Bullying Prevention Month, it is
Yeah.
officially 1 year since I
Yes.
released Devin Speaks Up. So how is
Okay.
it that it's already been 1 year? Like, what's going on? But let me actually describe Devin Speaks Up for
Very
y'all.
good.
Let me describe it before I kind of continue being amazed by that. So it's a children's anti-bullying book that talks about or shares my bullying story in an effort for others to see it, relate to it, understand what it looks like, and then
Mhm.
also it gives a proper definition of what bullying is, how
Right.
to be up standards, how we can even prevent bullying, and supporting overall. You know, on the front cover, it
Yeah.
has kids from all walks of life to represent how this world is so beautiful. You know, we are all different types of individuals. Not one of
Yeah.
us is the
Yeah.
same. And because of
Right.
that, we should be looking at that as something that's gorgeous, that's amazing,
Hmm.
that's divine, like I
Right.
don't know, so many different positive words is what I'm trying to say, and not as looking at it as something that's negative. So when
Right.
we listen to each other, what we should be doing is listening to each other, trying our best to understand each other, and go forth from
Right.
that. And then also
Yeah.
just with Devin Speaks Up, I do book readings to really further this anti-bullying message, even
Hmm.
having students pledge to be upstanders, our upstander pledge, upstander group
Right.
pledge. So there's a variety of different things that really go
Yeah.
into my Race to Speak Up and Devin Speaks Up journey, but it's all to
Hmm.
help as many people as I personally can, as we can with Race to Speak Up.
Right. So I saw, and I read it, not saw, but I read in the book like I'm like it's a movie. But I read in the book, and I saw the illustrations on the emotions that are on the face. Can you share, what it feels like to be bullied? Because I think what children need to understand, and I know you're not a child, but I want them to understand the myriad of what they feel, because maybe they don't know what they're feeling. Could you share that?
Yeah, so a perfect quote that actually goes with answering this question is in my book, I say bullying makes me feel sad, mad, and alone. And you know what? I'm actually comfortable with showing the picture that goes along with it so you guys can kind of
Sure.
understand. So this is
Yes.
a picture that goes along with.
Yes.
So you're talking about facial expressions, you're talking about what bullying can look like. How does it feel? I'll tell you how it
Mhm.
feels. It feels that sad, that mad, and alone. By
Yeah.
sad, it's depressing. Why is someone targeting me? Why is
Right.
someone targeting me for something that I may
Right.
still be trying to figure out myself, whether it's my
Right.
sexuality or something that's
Right.
just beautifully and uniquely and fully a part of me that I've been born with,
Right.
which is my
Right.
skin color, or like just different
Yeah.
examples I'm trying to give. It doesn't feel good at
Right.
all. It made me feel
No.
enraged when I first saw these three boys putting my face onto inappropriate pictures online
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
pushing me in the hallway, called me some very racist slurs that I'm not going to be repeating on this podcast. So
I
all these
understand.
factors come into play.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah.
also because it's like when it comes to certain students, they're a little nervous, they're too scared to speak up. Because of that, they're going to feel alone. Even when I spoke up, I still kind of felt alone until I was able to really do the research, until
Right.
other people were kind of coming up to me or reaching out to me through social media because of Race to Speak Up
Hmm.
and were telling me what they was going through. I started to feel
Right.
even more and more and more comfortable with sharing my story, but also understanding that other people are going through this. But when you're going through it, oftentimes it goes down that dark path. People become depressed. They won't get
Right.
up in the morning. It's hard for them to get up in the morning
Right.
because what am I going to
Yeah.
do? Go back into the school environment where these bullies are hating on me, as opposed to
Right.
getting an actual education, which is the whole reason as to why you're even going to school. Or
Hmm.
what else? There's so many different components that go into it. Like bullying
Yeah.
doesn't only happen at school; it can happen in other places. That camp that
Yeah.
you go to, that library that
Right.
you're forced to go to, that wherever that you're
Yeah.
going to. So
Right.
there's so many
Right.
different components to it, but if we have
Right.
an open conversation about what it looks like, what it feels like, not good, bad,
Right.
negative,
Right.
what we can
Yeah.
do with that pain or what we can do with that, try to take that power back and speak up to others and continuously
Right.
speak up until someone hears you. We need to do all these things. We need to make sure that we are at least on some version of a path towards justice, towards kindness, towards positivity, and towards
Mhm.
happiness.
Right. You said something that's very important. I thank you for it because when you start to, I know as an adult, I was, I think, one of my first times as an adult being bullied. No, maybe second time. And when I heard it, I was like, I started questioning myself. Well, why are they questioning this? When you start to question yourself and who you are, that's a great indicator as an adult. But I know as a child, you said the right things. When I feel sad, when I'm, why is this happening? What are some indicators to parents? Because parents seem to be, we move fast. We're doing this, we're getting them ready. What are some indicators to parents from a child that is experiencing it and may not say anything?
Well, first, I would say if you're a parent and you are suspecting anything, it is okay to ask your child. Just make sure that they feel
Yeah.
comfortable and safe. But to answer your question,
Yeah.
I just want to quickly make sure I said that. To answer your question, a couple of indicators could be, for example, a child may isolate themselves more because obviously people's energy, just energy, other people's energies in general can be, a lot on a person.
Right.
So when that
Hmm.
person's energy is going out of their way to negatively or just attack someone or target someone,
Right.
obviously it's going to be hard to just be around anyone at that point or anyone that your mind associates with those bullies. So your school peers, anyone
Hmm.
your age. So that could even be a sibling, things like that.
Hmm.
So the child may isolate
Hmm.
themselves or what's a couple of other things? One thing I always say is anxiety, or maybe even low self-esteem. Now, of course, it's 2023 and you're like Gen Z is Gen Z or whatever generation you're a part of. Like we're all human beings. So of course we're most likely all going to be
Right.
experiencing anxiety. But if you're a child,
Hmm.
like a very young child that's going through an extreme form of anxiety, obviously a parent or a guardian should really question that and get to the bottom of that because no one should be feeling that
Hmm.
heavy of an amount of anxiety, really, at any age, in my personal
Hmm.
opinion. And then also
Exactly.
depression, as I mentioned before, not being able to get out of bed. A lot of these things can correlate to each other. A lot of these things are
Hmm.
very connected. Like even, I know I'm learning about how when it comes to a lot of college students, a lot of them think that they have this is like a little scientific fact, but a lot of them think that they have ADHD,
That's
but in
okay.
reality, it's actually because a lot of symptoms of depression is similar to that of ADHD, but no one is really talking too much about the symptoms of depression.
That's a
Because
good
of
point.
that, they're thinking that it's ADHD. So it kind of is like you
Right.
really need to get to the bottom of things anyway. As soon as you see any form of a sign, anxiety, lower self-esteem, isolation, your child experiencing migraines more or in general,
Hmm.
or just starving themselves because what if someone's hitting on them for being of a bigger size, or eating more
Hmm.
because what if someone's hitting on them for being of a smaller size? It's really just you need to
Right.
kind of, I would say follow your gut, but you also need to ask questions or at least make them feel
Sure.
open and safe. Open up
Sure.
that safe space.
Right.
When I give my workshops, I make
Right.
sure I open up a safe space. One of my last workshops, that almost kind of turned into a therapy session because everyone was literally just like talking
Right.
about their experiences and I was just kind of helping them through it. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
different factors that go into play. I keep saying that. What am I saying? But there is a lot of different factors. It's just those are like a
Yeah.
couple of the different examples of what it can look like
Hmm.
and why it's so important. Because you remember how I was saying the depression and ADHD, even though like that was just an example of
Yeah.
like how symptoms look. So things can lead to, I'm not saying depression can lead to ADHD. I'm saying smaller versions of things like anxiety, continuous anxiety from a young age can lead on into
Right.
like disorders or other things later on in life. That's why we need
Okay.
to learn at a young age about this bullying preventative measures. And we can do that through Devin
Hmm.
Speaks Up and learning in that sort of instance, or just listening to
Right.
me talk, to be honest. Like there's a couple of different ways to kind of
Yeah.
go with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. And you talked, okay, so we talked about, being in middle school. We talked about being a younger age. Would signs of saying I don't want to go to school today would that be a sign?
Oh, that's a good that's a good question. And the only reason why I'm laughing right now and kind of smiling is because, it could be like laziness low, you don't want to go to school. But
Right.
if we're talking about in instances of bullying, to be serious right now, When we're talking
Yes.
about that, it could potentially look into that, but then you would also need to, as long as you make sure everyone is feeling safe in the moment so that they're more likely to really give
Right.
you a genuine answer, say, well, why?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
you ask them, well, why? What's going on? Or say, kind of
Right.
something along the lines of like, oh, if you know your child has a close friend, oh, don't you want to see Jimmy
Yeah.
today? I know how close you all, you buddies are, or something like
Got
that.
you.
Kind of if they do something more abnormal like that, you don't even want to see your friend and going to school because that's the same
Hmm.
environment that you're
Hmm.
going through such and such in.
Hmm.
Or what if it's, what if it's a teacher that's personally targeting a student? That's a whole nother topic too. But
Yeah.
it's, you kind
Exactly.
of do need to dive deeper. You don't need to interrogate a child because, or just a person in
Yeah.
general, to be honest. But it's like you do
Hmm.
need to
Hmm.
kind of go further into what's happening. Maybe offer
Right.
other
Okay.
ways for the child to tell them because, it's hard to verbally say something because emotions are very much tied to our words, verbal words. So, what if you say, you know what, honey, I want to help you, but if you're uncomfortable with speaking right now, why don't you write it down for me or why don't you type it down for me? And then I'll read it and then we can just go from there and I'll help you in any way that I can. Offer different ways of communication so that the child knows you do want to help them. Like, oh, my mom, my dad, my guardian is really going out of their way to let me know that they love me and that they want to help me. So why don't I just share what's going on because it's already making me feel really bad? There's a lot of,
Yeah.
I keep saying there's a lot. I keep saying there's a lot. I need to stop saying that. But those are the different things that a parent can do,
I know
a
what you mean. I
can
know
do,
what you mean.
a
Yes.
sibling can do, a cousin, a friend, whoever the upstander in your life can do to help you.
Hmm.
Or you can do to
Right.
help yourself too.
Now that we've tackled that, you're now in college. So how is this information so very good for you and the the instances of bullying in college that can take place? How do you translate that now in your different space?
It is so interesting because I found myself even doing what I'm about to say in high school. So,
Okay.
what I do when I'm seeing like a smaller instance of just like someone being rude, but it's like not necessarily like a hate crime or anything, it's just someone just being rude.
Right.
I want to see
Yeah,
that
just
as
over,
like
yeah, overt. Yeah.
yeah, I kind of see that and just the what are you doing right now? Or I try to play like psychological games on people because it's like you don't really need to keep doing this. But when it's kind of smaller things like that, my mind just kind of tries to tune it out. Now, of course, if it's continuous, if it's repetitive like bullying, I'm gonna put an end to that.
Yeah.
So when it comes to
Yeah.
things like that, definitely I've seen myself being more proactive, even when my in my own personal life, because I may be an anti-bullying activist, but I still am a nervous person. I still am a very anxious
Yeah.
person. I'm literally only
Yeah.
19. I
Hmm.
am only a sophomore, currently only a sophomore. I don't know all the answers, but I know
Right.
hating on another person, being rude to another person, all this discrimination, all this microaggressions, all these different types of things should not be happening in any
Yeah.
sort of way. And we need to promote
Right.
positivity. So when it comes to my immediate like friend group, when it comes to the immediate people I'm speaking with, I always strive for diversity, but I also make sure that are not only am I being listened to, but like they're being listened to. I want to make sure we all have an
Right.
open whoever I'm talking to, make sure that I'm like, I hear you and I understand you. I really am interested with what you're saying, or you can really relate to me or
Right.
whatever, and go forward with the conversation like that. So I
That's
realized
good.
with anti-bullying, I really try to make sure everyone, or at least in college, everyone is really heard. Everyone that I'm talking to at least is really heard.
Right. And that's a great place to be. I think that's really good information. Audience, Devin Moore is with us today, talking about speaking out against anti-bullying, and that is so great. Thank you so much for doing this. Um, Proactive positivity. That's really good. Hashtag that. That's great. I love that. Proactive positivity. I love that so much. Tell us more about. I know I want to get into this. The book. I know you gave a little bit of summary about it, but just take us through the summary of Devin Speaks Up.
You mean kind of like just its journey and kind of stuff like that?
Yeah, no, just the journey of like I want them to read it, but just tell us about the story of it. Just a little summary, not too much. They gotta
Oh,
buy
okay.
it.
Okay. So yeah, with Devin Speaks Up, so it's showing my journey at a very much younger age. Now, this book is geared towards ages 2 to 7, but it's like it's still like middle schoolers can still learn from this. Even parents can
Right.
still learn from this and figure
Yes.
out simple ways to explain it to others. So with
Mm-hmm.
Devin Speaks Up, I really wanted to give students an effective tool that they can use and bring back into their environments or parents or teachers or
Okay.
whoever. And it shows my story of these three boys. They're saying, I hate you because of your black skin color, you're less than, you're worthless. When in reality, no, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're smart, you are worth something, you're worth a lot, you are an amazing person.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm going through that storyline and then also showing how I was an upstander for another person, an effort for others to see how we can even go about doing this and
Okay.
learn about the proper definition of bullying and being an
Okay.
upstander.
Wonderful. Well, this is wonderful, and I thank you because it's you, as you said, this month is anti-bullying awareness, right? So this is a month. So share with us how you got started a year ago. Was it a year ago that you started you on this journey?
Of Devin Speaks Up, that's when it was officially published. I started way
Yes.
before.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah,
Okay. All right. But this journey of the authorship started that long ago. That's great. That's really great.
yeah, I mean,
So
it
tell us how you're going to move forward with this. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, sure. I think the audio is kind of acting up. But yeah, so the way that I'm going to be moving forward with this is, I definitely put a lot of time and effort and energy into this book, my baby,
Mhm.
I put a lot of love and soul into
Yeah.
this book. So what I want to continue to do, because I actually already do this, is give more Devin Speaks Up book readings, but just throughout as many parts
Okay.
of the world that I can do, so in the processes of things. But the main places that I've been giving Devin Speaks Up book readings, as well as my anti-bullying workshops, and even a couple of youth entrepreneurship presentations. There's a couple of different programs, workshops, presentations, readings that I
Great.
offer.
Great.
So I want to
Great.
continue to do everything, all of that. And I am actually continuing to do that. Even this month in October, I'm going to be going to an event in Chicago where I'm giving an anti-bullying presentation to their high schoolers at a college preparatory school. Like I'm going to continue to keep doing this. I just want to do this
Yes.
on an even bigger than it already is type of scale.
Yeah.
And continue to do that
Right.
for as long as I can. Like, yes, I know I'm in college. Yes, I need to make sure my mental health is in check. And yes, the studying is a lot. But I'm gonna, as long as I can handle everything, I'm going to continue to do it as much as I can.
That's wonderful. That's so great. Well, tell everyone how we can find your book. Where we can, order it from. How we can get you to come to our schools. Of course, we're in New York, but how the schools can contact you to get you to their schools to talk about anti-bullying.
Yeah, so well, first, the best ways that you guys can find me, as well as buy your own or purchase your own copy of Devin Speaks Up, is just to go to my website. It has all of my information there. It's racetospeakup.com, RACETOSPEAKUP.com. You'll find all my information, all the social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. It's all at Race to Speak Up, and then also at author Devin Moore. So that's where you can find me. Now, the best ways that schools can get in contact with me to bring my anti-bullying workshops, presentations to your school environment or to your organizations, your libraries, your whatever the case may be, you
Right.
can contact me through my website. It just is linked directly to my email. All you got to do is scroll all the way to the bottom and then type in whatever you'd like to share with me, set up a Zoom call with me, and then we can go from there and figure out how we can really bring my work or the Race to Speak Up work to your communities. And then also, if you're a student that wants me to come to your school, why don't you go ahead and you can reach out to me, but also talk to your school higher up, your staff member, your principal, or whoever, and say, hey, this is one person. This person's name is Devin Moore. And you know what? Devin is the founder of an anti-bullying organization. This is Devin's
Mm-hmm.
website. Can we like have Devin come here? I don't know how that works, but you know what? can you like, I'll get us all in contact and then set up a Zoom call, and then I'll come in and I'll share obviously how that would work, and then how we
Yeah,
can go forth and bringing Devin Speaks Up and Race to
that's
Speak Up to your
wonderful.
environment.
That's wonderful. Well, Devin Moore, tell us what you could say to the audience. What's the last words you can give encouragement to our audience today?
The last words that I'll give y'all is always race to speak up against bullying.
Oh, that's good. Can't hashtag that anymore because you got the hashtag for that. Well, we want to thank you, audience. You know what you got to do. This is really great information. Share this with your friends, your family. Share it with schools, with Boy Scout groups, Girl Scouts groups, whomever, because this information needs to be heard. The earlier, the better, proactively. And this is what Devin Moore is all about. So I hope that you enjoyed us today, and I hope you get in touch with Devin. Devin, thank you for being a wonderful guest today, and we will all support you in your journey. Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.